My favorite time of day is the sunset. And not only because it's something that happens daily and it's free, but for me, it's a way of resetting from perhaps a hectic day. And I guess it's fitting that my last name is Sun. And yes, it is my real last name. So how many of you guys have seen the sunset in your lifetime? I'm sure it's about 100%, almost 100% of us have seen it. Most people don't really observe other people watching the sunset. But if you're like me and like to people watch, I found that most people stop what they're doing. They take a pause in the busyness of life to just watch the fiery ball in the sky drop down into the horizon. It's pretty amazing, actually, if you think about it. This shared collective phenomenon that brings these people, all of us, together. Sunsets don't discriminate, and they can be enjoyed by just about anyone. And in some places of the world, they actually collectively cheer for the sunset. Throughout the years, I've made it a personal habit to try to catch the sunset whenever possible, wherever I am in the world, whether it be for work or for play. And something that I've noticed in recent years is that, and I am a culprit of it myself, is this insatiable need that we have to take photos and to document the whole sunset. So you miss the whole entire moment. It passes by. Because if you don't do it for the gram, it didn't happen, right? According to a 2018 Forbes article, a whopping 286 million sunset photos were uploaded to Instagram just last year. A lot of sunsets. And creating content for social media has become a whole new livelihood for some and aspirational for so many others trying to live our best life. The satirical account, Overheard LA, and its sister accounts call themselves the Insta voice for the millennial culture, posting about the ridiculousness of LA city life. And this one kind of nails it on the head. It's a guy arguing with a girl, and he says, "She's not my girlfriend, we just create content together." Well, in my profession as a sports broadcaster, journalist, and documentary filmmaker, I've encountered some of the most interesting and influential and talented people. I've interviewed thousands, from the most elite athletes to famous musicians and actors, to scientists and thought leaders, and everyday citizens. And many of them have what the Webster Dictionary would define as the X factor. A person that has a strong but unpredictable influence. I'm not talking about just a magnetic personality, but someone who radiates light and shines like that special sunset golden hour glow. Well, in this ever-changing new digital world, the word influencer has come to be defined as a social media influencer. It has become something that many aspire to be, some roll their eyes at, and few actually embody. From Insta-famous bloggers and models to reality TV stars to YouTube celebrities, many people are focused on becoming an influencer more than influencing anything. Today, we can easily get stuck in the cycle of social media, a vicious cycle that I personally fallen into. I call it the Instagram black hole. So we share, post, tweet, engaging or what we think is engaging content, affirmed by likes and comments. And then we keep checking in, checking back for more likes and to see how we can validate our self-worth through that. And then it kind of dwindles, and then the feelings of inadequacy, FOMO, self-doubt, they all kind of start settling in. And then the vicious cycle just happens over again as we share, post, and tweet. With technology at our fingertips designed to constantly pull for our attention, many scientists believe our brains were not meant for this kind of information bombardment, and that it can lead to mental fatigue, overwhelm, and burnout. This meme has been shared, well circulated online, and it begs the question, who are you without social media? I grew up at a unique time at the intersection of the analog and digital worlds. We are the Zennials. We used landline phones, and we waited a week to pick up our printed photos. We made mixtapes, and yes, we played the Oregon Trail. So if you were old enough to know what any of these things are and you have used them, you know what I'm talking about. We used social media, but there was life before it, and the internet was not part of my childhood. Although growing up in Cupertino in the heart of Silicon Valley, I appreciate both the need to adapt and evolve as our world becomes more digital, and the fight to retain simple traditions of just unplugging and enjoying the moment. It's a unique perspective that has helped our generation, my generation, live in a world where your social stature is predicated on how many followers one has, how seemingly authentic you are online, and what your social score might be. But it surely doesn't make us immune to the pitfalls of social media. And I'm not saying that social media influencers don't sway opinion or culture. Just look at the marketing and organizational demise of the Fire Festival of Fraud in the Bahamas in 2018. Social media influencers do influence purchases, but it's increasingly harder to create your authentic self online when you're always being evaluated by the highlight reel of life's moments. In a world where about 40% or 3 billion people use online social media, what differentiates from those who are influential people in real life? What is true influence in a social media world? For the 2007 Time 100 list of most influential people in the world, managing editor Richard Stengel talked about their selection criteria. Influence is hard to measure, he says, and what we look for are people whose ideas, whose example, whose talent, whose discoveries transform the world we live in. As someone whose profession it is to share about other stories in a factual and journalistically sound way, I believe it's a confluence of characteristics and disciplines that people practice that give them a certain GLOW, or glow. I've also tried to glean off of some of these to use in my own life as well. But how do we find our glow? Well, these are 4 simple reminders, 2 of which are based on mindset, and then 2 of which are taking action, that help me find my glow. Get gritty. Recently, Nike released an ad showcasing and narrated by tennis legend Serena Williams. And she talks about how women athletes were crazy for doing things that men did, but encourages women to show them what crazy dreams can do. After talking to many successful people, psychologist and author Angela Duckworth found that talent wasn't the dividing line for achieving success, but it was grit. Grit is passion and perseverance for long-term goals. Talent isn't gritty. Grit is effort. I've spoken to women about breaking boundaries in sports, and I've also been asked about breaking into this world as well. I've been asked many a time, how do you cover a football or tennis or basketball when you've never played? And my response is always, well, half the men's sports broadcasters haven't played professionally. Have you ever asked them that? What stood out to me was that because we didn't have role models to follow, we had to trust our instincts, work harder, persevere through the critics. We had to get gritty. The second thing I learned from real-life influential people is to let it go. Don't sweat the small stuff. You may not be able to control the circumstance you are in, but you have full control of your reaction of the situation. Working in live television, a lot of things can go wrong. Trust me, whether it be technical difficulties or breaking news and a ball hits you in the face or you accidentally hit someone else with the ball, all of that has happened to me before. And really the key is you just can't sweat the small stuff. I worked on a show that you guys might be familiar with. It's a competition show called American Ninja Warrior, and I was the sideline host. So after the contestants get done with the run, they would always come to me for the interview, and most of the time it would be after they've fallen off of an obstacle and kind of had a poor run. And the difference I saw in the athletes that not only survived to the next round, but thrived was the way that they were able to shake it off and just let go of their failures. Some of them even parlayed their visibility in the show into real life, into successful business ventures. None of them really made it to the last round, but if it didn't matter, they let it go. They moved on. The third thing that I've learned from people with true influence is that they offer hope. Being a beacon of light to others through examples in real life situations, whatever your cause is, if it's social injustice, if it's mental health, environment, volunteering, or being a part of something bigger, getting outside of yourself and pouring into something else or someone else is the best way to get out of your own way. Recent marketing research suggests micro-influencers, who are normal people who have a small following and niche interests, are the new online influencer targets. Because the truth is, we all have real influence on our friends and our family, as they do for us. And when we actually spend time together, FaceTime, not with the phone, this is what creates that authentic connection. And lastly, wander in awe. It is to get out and literally just do that, just get out and wander. The German word wanderlust means a strong desire to travel. And studies have shown that those who get outside, they live happier lives, they're more fulfilling, they're less stressed, they're more creative. I love to travel, and I have been doing it for quite a long time. And my passion for the oceans is what led me to my documentary film, Plastic Paradise, The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. I've always been awestruck by the ocean environment and everything in it, and it fuels my desire to protect it. Well, 10 years later, single-use plastics have finally entered the forefront of our popular discussion in mainstream culture, specifically straws as well. But it all started with that little kernel of curiosity, of wonder, of wandering in awe. One of my favorite quotes is from the genius Albert Einstein: "I have no special talents, I am only passionately curious." So get gritty, let go, offer hope, and wander in awe. These are the qualities and disciplines that I've recognized and witnessed in my life from real life influential people that helped me discover my glow. So I hope this sparks a light in you the next time you get outside, even if it's just for a few minutes, just like a sunset that makes people stop and watch. May people feel your glow. Thanks.